Since the recent blockchain halt, there has been tremendous amounts of concern regarding miners without enough RAM to support the network properly. Bobcat in particular was one of the manufacturers that was in the spotlight regarding the size of the RAM in their miners. There was much speculation in Discord chats regarding the size of the RAM and performance of these miners moving forward. Bobcat has since released a news article outlining the exact numbers behind their miners, including the number of 1GB and 2GB miners they have produced and shipped. It goes on explaining how even the 1GB miners that were already produced will operate perfectly well once all the hotspots are changed to light hotspots. This was also confirmed by Helium co-founder Amir Haleem in a Discord post a few days ago. This update comes after Bobcat made announcements regarding opening an entirely new factory, the largest one to date, and expanding operations into the US. Lots of moving parts here in this news update. Let's take a look at some of the highlights in today's video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video here on the Crypto Compound channel. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you're all having a great day. Happy early Thanksgiving to anyone here in the US. And please make sure to hit that like button on the way in and hit that subscribe and notification bell if you want to stay up to date on all the latest Helium news and analysis. Today we are going to be talking about the latest update from Bobcat. This was a major news release regarding a lot of the conversations that were taking place in Discord chats and on Reddit regarding the RAM capabilities that they had in their miners. Bobcat has since really pulled back the curtain on their production, on the exact amount of units shipped to date and what is currently being produced, and if they are compatible with the network moving forward. Of course, the network is growing extremely fast. There is a lot of changes happening. It is very different. The network operates very differently than it did back in early 2020. So, of course, things do need to be updated. And as we've seen here, Bobcat is making these changes. As you can see here, this entire network is fundamentally about changing the way we do things, and therefore change will always be at the core of everything that we need to happen to keep this moving forward. And as we covered a few weeks ago, we saw that Bobcat was in fact opening its largest factory to date. And there have also been recent job posts from Bobcat regarding opportunities inside of the United States in California. So Bobcat is staying on the cutting edge of everything that is going on in the Helium community, which is great to see. And the transparency here in this most recent post is very, very comforting. Now we're going to go through this update. However, we're also going to touch on a few of the very interesting posts from Amir Haleem, Helium's co-founder, in the Discord. He actually responds to a lot of people's concern that was going on before this post was released. We will talk about that as well, as it's always really interesting to see the actual words from people that are super involved in the network. Now guys, as you can see here, Bobcat highlights the exact number of units that have been shipped and what is being produced. They explain through 28 batches, Bobcat has shipped a total of 172,858 hotspots. From these, 113,633 units, exactly 65.7% have 2 gigabytes of RAM, and 59,225 units, 34.3%, have 1 gigabyte of RAM. So right now it is about a 65 to 34% disparity between the 2 gigabytes of RAM and the 1 gigabytes of RAM, with 2 gigabytes being the majority. And as you can see, they outline that pretty clearly here, with the red portion being the 2 gigabyte units. They go on to explain the 2 gigabyte miners are already being shipped. We began transitioning into 2 gigabyte miners in August. This transition was gradual and randomized, so several batches had 1 gigabyte and 2 gigabyte miners shipping at the same time. No customers were aware of this transition, so no preference was given to anyone. The reasons for this transition was preemptive, as we were closely monitoring the accelerated rate at which we were contributing to the network. Now, of course, they are talking about how they are onboarding so many hotspots, and they are becoming a huge majority of this network. Of course, still being one of the top 2 manufacturers of Helium hotspots. As you can see, they're highlighted here day by day as the green candles of onboarding hotspots per day. They are consistently the largest manufacturer onboarding the largest amount of hotspots per day. They explain how the actual 2 gigabyte hardware is a little bit more hard to come by, especially considering the supply chain environment we are living through. So they explained it had to be done carefully and steadily. They go on to say, for the last 4 months, we have been prioritizing the production of miners with 2 gigabytes RAM, and we will continue to integrate this component for as long as the supply chain can support our rate of production. Given the rapid growth of the entire ecosystem, as well as the challenges it's presenting to Helium and all manufacturers, production with 2 gigabytes RAM will continue, and the cost for this upgraded hardware will be absorbed by Bobcat as to not burden our customers. So in short, they are now producing the 2 gigabytes RAM and will continue to do that as long as they can, and there will be no price increase for that additional or double RAM hardware. Here's a quick timeline. Bobcat delivering the first batch of miners in April. Of course, now on batch 28. In August, 2 gigabytes of RAM miners were being shipped. They mentioned earlier, they did not explicitly state that they were producing these. However, they did integrate that production into the batches starting in August. Now in November, batch 28, Bobcat has shipped 172,858 units. Of course, the transition from the 1 gigabyte to the 2 gigabyte miner hotspots is very important, very critical, and we're happy to see that. However, the concern now is all of the people that bought 1 gigabyte RAM hotspots, including myself, is what is going to happen to those miners. Are they going to be supported for the network forever? Are they going to operate properly? And are they going to cause more blockchain issues or halts or anything like that? This is where they start to talk about the comparison between the two and what we can expect. They say, while 1 gigabyte miners only account for 34% of the miners we've shipped, this still amounts to 17% of the overall network. This percentage does not include other 1 gigabyte miners on the network, such as Helium Originals, Rack V1, Nebra, etc. Given these numbers, we're incredibly grateful for Helium's commitment to support all currently approved hotspots with core blockchain and miner updates. These updates will continue until the Light Hotspot software updates become available for manufacturers to implement and migrate to their fleets. Bobcat would not have been able to hold the position it does on the network without the relentless effort from Helium developers to constantly maintain and upgrade an infrastructure that is growing at an unprecedented rate. So what they're saying is Helium is 100% supporting all approved miners on the network, including all 1 gigabyte RAM hotspots, whether it's Rack, Nebra, Bobcat, whatever it is. And they are going to continue to support that until the Light Hotspot software upgrades become available. Now, as you can see here in the Helium Discord, this is Amir Halim. He is actually responding to someone who is concerned about the 1 gigabyte hotspots not being supported any longer. And he goes on to say, you're very confused on this point, but it's not really an issue and becomes irrelevant with light hotspots anyway, which is what Bobcat said in their post. He also says, I'm not sure why we're debating it. We're obviously not going to deprecate 65% of the network. So he is confirming that they will never lose support for existing 1 gigabyte miners. And he also explains how once the light hotspots are available, it won't make a difference anyway. So of course, what Bobcat is saying here is very important. However, it's really great to see that Amir Halim is also confirming that himself. Now, there is a comparison here, a technical comparison here between the 1 gigabyte and 2 gigabyte miners. You guys can look at this yourselves. It's a little bit technical, very interesting to see. I'll put a link down below, but they sum it up down here nicely. They say, in a nutshell, 1 gigabyte miners are perfectly adequate to handle the everyday operations of the hotspot. Keep in mind that once all hotspots are changed to light gateways, RAM usage will likely decrease from 400 megabits to about 100 megabits. Currently, a larger RAM usage is only occurring when loading a snapshot. The snapshot is a large file and therefore is loaded gradually so as to not cause the hotspot to run out of memory. Having larger RAM will allow the snapshot to load faster, but given that snapshot are not loaded every day, it is unlikely that slower loading will have a significant impact on mining activities. So of course they're saying the extra RAM is very good, it's very helpful. However, it's not 100% critical for the hotspot to actually operate, but of course larger is better when loading those large snapshots. There is a very interesting frequently asked questions down here with links to the 1 gigabyte and 2 gigabyte miner certifications. Those links can also be found at the bottom of the Bobcat website. In here in the download section, you can find the 1 gigabyte and 2 gigabyte data book and the 1 gigabyte and 2 gigabyte certification documents. I'll put a link here to all of this down below. And of course, guys, the link down below to the Bobcat website is an affiliate link. I am comfortable having that link there as I have spent my own money and done my own research on Bobcat and purchased one of their miners for myself. So if I'm willing to spend my own money on one of their products, I'm comfortable directing you guys there, as I have done a pretty good amount of research, and I'm very comfortable, especially after seeing the amount of investments they're putting into themselves in relocating to a larger facility and moving into the US. So guys, that is an affiliate link. It does really help support the channel, and I would really appreciate if you guys do use it to purchase your miner. Now, lastly, guys, to wrap this all up, there is a post here where someone is concerned that there will not be any more support for the Bobcat 1GB miners or 1GB miners in general. And Amir says, "You'll be fine. I think our announcement caused more concern than it should have. Sorry. Bobcats will continue to be supported forever." So I think that message from Amir really sums it up. Of course, 2GB RAM is better than 1GB. However, the 1GB miners will operate effectively and always will be supported. Also good to know, all miners now that you purchase from Bobcat will be 2GB of RAM. Guys, there was a lot in this update. Let me know your questions below. I will do my best to try and find the answers. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for being here and watching till the end. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. But just like that, this video is over, and I'll see you next time.